It's E15 again. Many thanks for joining us on the weekend episode of Election 2015, TVC's daily countdown program to the general elections in Nigeria. I am Eshomomo Imodu. Now, today makes it 29 days to the commencement of the general elections in Nigeria. Well, and we'll begin the program from where we stopped yesterday on the drama playing out in Niger State. Now, a high court sitting in Minna, the state capital, has restrained the State House of Assembly and its officials from commencing any impeachment proceedings against the embattled Deputy Governor, Ahmed Ibeto, who decamped from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Now, from there, we will move to Thursday's surprise visit of President Goodluck Jonathan to some territories recently recovered from the Boko Haram sect by the Nigerian troops in Adamawa and Borno states. Now, the plots to force the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Tahiru JEGA, out of office, according to reports, is still ongoing. According to the Senate Minority Leader, George Akume, the INEC chairman will be given a letter by the office of the head of service, directing him to proceed on retirement leave next week. Many dramas, you will say, in the Nigerian political scene ahead of the 2015 elections. Now, well, these are the issues on our radar today on E15. But first, let's take a break.
It's no boring talk. It's a sneak peek into the lives of the people who make the news.
I don't smoke. I don't drink. I've stopped womanizing.
It's all tales and confessions. It is the Sunday Interview on TVC News, Nigeria.
Done to this country is great.
Do you want to go backward? No!
The time ticks. The nation awaits its next general elections. Do you have your PVC? Ensure you do to exercise your franchise during the elections. It's your right. It's your duty.
Remember that the change that is upon us can only be done with our voters' card.
The dawn determines the day. The day sets the time as Nigerians troop to the polls to elect a new set of leaders. Follow the team of professionals as we take you across the country, bringing you informed analysis, projection, and up-to-date reports. Watch out on TVC News Nigeria, TVC News Africa, TVC Entertainment, Radio Continental 102.3 FM, Adaba 88.9 FM, and Unique 103.1 FM in partnership with Gotel TV, Core TV, The Nation, and The News. Join us for a comprehensive coverage of the elections as Nigerians decide.
Welcome back. As usual, I'm not alone in the studio today. I have my colleagues here with me. Cyril Abaku, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I think the last one was here was about 40 or 41 days. Now it's countdown to 29
days.
Yeah.
You're welcome anyhow.
Thank you.
And Babajide Kolade Otitoju, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure as usual. Good evening, viewers.
Okay, now let's hit the ground with this. Where we left off yesterday, talking about Niger State, where the deputy governor who was elected on the platform of the PDP decamped and crossed over into the All Progressives Congress. And the drama playing out there was that there's ongoing move to get him impeached, and also when the governor was traveling out of the country, he decided to hand over to the Speaker of the House of Assembly instead of the Deputy Governor. There was so much drama, and the Deputy Governor went to court and got a court order restraining the House from impeaching. Now, let me just ask you this. How will you describe what is playing out in Niger State on the eve of a major election?
Yes, the reality is the governor can no longer work with his deputy. And it all began when the deputy governor went to the airport to receive the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress. So
as at that time, he was still in...
It was that day that it became clear that he was going to leave. And then at the campaign ground, he officially decamped along with his supporters. But don't forget, he took part in the primaries of the party and was beaten by a little boy. Little boy, that's Gado Nasco's son.
37-year-old.
37-year-old. And he must have felt humiliated because Gado Nasco, the young Gado Nasco, was the chief of staff to the governor. Now, a chief of staff to the governor defeating the deputy governor in the primaries of the party. It is the height of humiliation. He would have expected his boss to back him all the way. But as we've seen so many times in Nigeria, governors hardly
allowed their
deputies to succeed them. I think Governor Kwankwaso in Kano allowed his deputy, Umar Ganduje, to succeed him. But in most cases, it doesn't happen. You know, so, and usually when governors fall out with their deputies, what they do is they either when they are traveling, they hand over to the SSG. You know, it happened in Sokoto during the time of Atairu Bafarawa. The current governor, Maga Takada Wamako, was his deputy. He refused to hand over to his deputy. Instead, he handed over to the SSG, whom he eventually made the candidate of the DPP in the state. But Wamako, being extremely popular at the grassroots level, he eventually triumphed and gave PDP his first victory since 1999. PDP swept all the elective positions in Sokoto based on the strength and popularity of Wamako, because Obasanjo knew that Wamako was stronger than Muktari Shagari, who had won the primaries of the PDP at the time. So Obasanjo said, no, let's have you, Muktari Shagari, step down, you know, for this man. You become his deputy because we stand a better chance of winning with Wamako on the ballot. So Wamako eventually became the governor of the state. The current chairman of the People's Democratic Party, national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, when he was governor of Bauchi, he also had a quarrel, a similar quarrel to, with his deputy, and he continued to prop up the secretary to the state government. But eventually, the secretary to the state government, didn't make it, and the current governor of the state, who had defected to the ANPP, eventually carried the day. You know, that's talking about what's his name? Governor. I remember his name. The Bauchi State, the current Bauchi State governor. Yuguda. You know, Yuguda later on the ticket of ANPP, he became governor of the state, defeating the candidate of the PDP.
No, this drama is not, from what your analysis, it's not something peculiar to Niger State.
No, I'm saying that it's not new. It's not new. I'm saying that it's not new. When governors quarrel with their deputies, they usually hand over to the SSG. But in this case, the governor of Niger State handed over to the speaker. So that is quite new to me. That is quite new.
I think it's even better, because if you don't hand over to your deputy, the next in command should be the speaker, not your SSG.
Yes, yes. But they usually don't like to hand over to the speaker.
Okay, I'll come back to that. Now, Cyril, let me just go a little bit away from Niger State. We'll come back to Niger. Even in Ekiti State, Fayose, just as he was being sworn in for this term, said, my deputy is not going to succeed me. Now, what?
He said they agreed on that.
Exactly. So what is this big problem where governors will never want their deputy? Even President Obasanjo never wanted his vice to succeed him. What is this problem? Is it a problem with our constitution?
No. It's not. For me, I think that I look at our politics as being more of realpolitik than of being real politics. Realpolitik in the sense that you use everything and whatever you have to get anything you want, without caring or without minding whose ox is God. And one thing with power is that Nobody wants any other person. It's normal political law. Shall I even say human nature? It's wrong, but you know, nobody wants to easily allow anyone else to rise up and have the same clout that he has had. You know, so I'm not surprised, you know, when the governor says he's not going to hand over to his deputy. I think even in Rivers State it happened at the point when Governor Peter Odele was very close to his SSG. Of course, everybody knew that deputy governor wasn't going to run. So he had promised his SSG, former SSG and Minister of Transport, I think Dr. Sekbo, you know, that was going to be the governor. The primaries came, it was scuttled. The governor couldn't land it. The current governor, Amechi, who was then speaker, and who had been a very loyalist of the very loyal follower of Governor Dele, didn't get it. It went to a certain Celestino Mejia, you know, and then that whole thing snowballed into the Supreme Court case that Scott that. So I mean, it's there. What is a bit different to me from what we are seeing in Niger State is the fact that, you know, the deputy governor Ibeto defected, and then the Commissioner of Information came up and said Ibeto's defection was a non-issue. That wasn't going to lead to any kind of political loss. But mind you, he left the 200 persons, members of the state of House of Assembly, 4 commissioners, including National Assembly, you know, Assembly members. They all left with him. But the maturity with which they have conducted themselves up until this point, I think that if anything, I mean, it will be good for our history books. But basically, I think that the governor just feels that, I mean, this man already has clout and always has yeah. So even if I allow him, you know, to come up, I may not be his godfather tomorrow. So I think that's just the basic.
The godfather.
Yes. For me, that's how I see it.
Let me come to you with this. What do you think the courts? Do you think the courts can really restrain the House of Assembly if they want to proceed with the impeachment? Looking at the history of impeachment and court cases barring the House of Assembly from impeaching the governor.
First and foremost, I think the deputy governor has kind of taken a preemptive action, because I've not seen any sign that they want to impeach him. The concrete signs are not there, but he knows there is a possibility. When you quarrel, look at what happened in Enugu State, you know, where the governor decided to impeach his deputy. And what is the crime? That he operated a poultry inside the government house. How can that be a valid reason, you know, for which to impeach a deputy governor? So they've always treated these deputy governors like spare tires, like sweet wraps on the floor.
But are they not by the Constitution?
Yes, the Constitution does not specifically give roles to them. You know, what the Constitution says is, okay, whatever role the governor deems fit to give to them. Most governors will say, oh yeah, go and handle local government affairs. Like Maga Takadawa Mako, the current governor of Sokoto, was in charge of local government affairs, you know, under Atairu Bafarawa. Most governors will say, okay, handle education, like we have in Lagos and some other states. They know they give them the education portfolio. They don't even give them the very strong portfolios. You know, it says a lot about how much value they place on these individuals.
Now, could it also be a history of disloyal deputies?
I know, I really cannot say. You see, you also need to look at the kind of people that they go for. Most times, governors go for people who do not, you know, have the wherewithal politically to mount a strong bid to succeed their bosses. They always go for people who are not strong politically. You know, they go for people that they can push around. Just somebody who will not even open his mouth and challenge them on any issue. So by the time you go for such a person, you know in your heart of hearts that, look, this guy is not good enough to lead the state. So when the time comes to decide who succeeds you, you are not even going to look in his direction, because from the beginning, you've not chosen a person who has all it takes to become deputy, to become governor of the state as your deputy. They often choose people whom they know really are nothing politically. Most of the time, that's what they do. So, but in the case of Beto, the governor thinks that well, he has joined the APC. He cannot continue to sit in the executive council with him, and he was worked out. They told him, look, you can't sit, that he's going to be a spy for the APC.
It's a similar thing played out between Obasanjo and Atiku, when Atiku, they said the minister wanted to walk him out of the council. In
the case of Atiku politically is formidable. You can't even compare to some of these politicians that they make deputies. But I'm saying that they usually don't like to pick such people. Look at Umar Ganduje in Kano, for example. He's a formidable political player in the state. He's been a commissioner for works. He's been, he's held a lot of key positions, even for previous governments, before Kwankwaso. So that person is qualified. But most of them don't pick people who are formidable politically, who are capable of even succeeding them.
Okay, now let's quickly go on this break, and when we come back, we'll hit the ground. We'll still talk about this issue a bit quick, just briefly before we go into the next issue. Please stay with us.